Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to R Squared Technology. I am your host Ryan, and let's get ready to SolidWorks. Woohoo! So in this video of good old Friday, we will be working on yet another new part, still within Chapter 2, of the Beginner's Guide to SolidWorks 2022 Level 1. As always, a link in the description below where you can follow along. So, with that, let's jump into it. Alright, so to begin the top cover, you'll want to start a new part and use the Advanced Prompt section to select the ANSI inch cast alloy steel template that we made in the very first video. Now, of course, save your part ahead of time rather than at the end, and save often. Control S is your friend. I would title it top cover so it makes sense, and save it where all the other parts we've made so far, which should be the housing, side cover, and top cover so far, up to the point of this video. Now, let's get going. Section 4.1, page 134. They want us to choose the top plane to create the first sketch. So select the top plane and hit Control 8 to bring it normal to. We'll go over to our Sketch tab, and you can either click Sketch or we can go straight to a center rectangle. Now, before you start drawing that center rectangle, you're going to want to make sure that the Sketch numeric input and add dimension are selected for this particular instance. And this is just to give an example of, yet again, the method of dimensioning the sketch, right? There are several different ways to do it. This is perhaps another quick and efficient way. Again, you don't have to do it this way, but we're showing it for this particular instance. Because again, you want to have options when you're designing something. So, we'll now click on the origin to make sure that the center of the rectangle is coincident of that. Then we will drag down, and going to page 136 at the top, our first dimension is going to be 2.625, and then you hit enter, and then you can then follow it up with the 4 inches, enter, and now we should be fully defined. So we'll come up here to the left and close the dialog. Again, sketch should not have blue lines if we are fully defined, which means it has relations and dimensions to do so. Sometimes you can do it purely dimensionally, but usually you got to have some relation to the origin. So thus you'll need something to be, some part of your sketch will need to be coincident to the origin, even if it's just a single line in any given direction. Now granted, if it's not horizontal or vertical relation, then it will also have to have an angular relation. So, again, fully defined sketches are what we want. So now, section 4.3 on page 136, we're going to add fillets in on the sketch side. So we're still in the sketch tab, still in our sketch, and we'll come up here to where it says sketch fillet, and for this they want a dimension of 0.25, and then we're going to select these 4 corners, and then we'll click OK. And then from here on page 137, section 4.4, we're going to do a boss extrude. So come over to the Features tab, do Extrude Boss Base, and our thickness of the part is going to be 0.25, and we can click OK. Click in the graphics view, again hit Control S about a bazillion times until your keyboard falls apart. I'll give you a medal if you could do that one. And then we're going to take a moment here and come over into our feature tree, and we're going to click once on our boss extrude feature, wait, click again so we can rename it to simply base. I do love bass. Subwoofers are life. Just saying. Team Rockford Fosgate. So, now moving on to section 4.5 on page 137, we will simply right click on this top face here and we will choose a sketch this method. Then we can hit the space bar and we can do one of two things. You can do the top view, or you can just simply Control 8. The next thing we're going to do is a offset of the entities. So while everything is selected here, blue, the face is selected blue, we're going to offset the entity. Now notice that this entity, the line is outside of the solid part. Let's bring it back here so you can see what I'm talking about. See here, we don't want that. It needs to go the other way. So what do? We come over here and select reverse. And now the dimension for this is going to be 0.375, enter. And then we can click OK. And now that this is section 4.6, 4.7 on page 138. And now we're going to go to section 4.8 on page 139, where we will do another boss extruded base. Click there, and this one is also a thickness of 0.25, and then we click OK, and let's save it as always. And then this, we will want to rename this extrusion top boss. And now from here we will be on section 4.10 on page 140, where we're going to create a sketch to do a cut extrude. So I'm going to hit escape. Oops. We want to rename this here top base boss. Control S, escape out. We'll bring it back into an isometric view for a moment. So now what we can do here is actually hit the space bar again, bring it to a top orientation. We want to select this topmost face, choose sketch, or right click on it, sketch, creates a new sketch that way too. Again, number of ways to do it. At some point, you're just going to choose to do it the way you find most efficient, quickest to get it done. Now, from here, what we're going to do is create two center lines. They're referencing from here and here. Now, in the book, they drag beyond that, but I hate having infinite lines or underdefined construction lines. So, center lines. So I'm going to do it like this, so they're fully defined. They're only a bearing for mirror planes, we'll see here shortly. And then we're going to take a center circle, and we're going to choose this corner here, click and drag out. And also another thing you can do to make things a little less confusing is under display style, you can come here to hidden lines removed and select that, so you'll have a view like what's in the book here, which goes from page 140 all the way through page 141. So what we'll do here is give this a dimension of 1/2 inch, 0.5, enter, select, and then we're going to come up here, still into the sketch tab, we're going to choose mirror entities, and you can see here, what are we going to mirror? Well, it's this circle, and what are we going to mirror about? We're going to mirror about this reference line here, which is halfway through the part. Then we'll select OK. And then we're going to simply repeat this in section 4.12 on page 141. So click Mirror Entities. Then we'll select both these top circles. And then we're going to mirror it about this line, which is cutting the part in half this way. And then we can click OK. Mirror, patterns, all these things, whenever you can use them, it is going to save you some significant amount of time. So from here we now go into page 142 section 4.13, where we're going to do an extruded cut based on this sketch. First though, I'm going to come back up here into the display style and turn it back to shaded with edges. And then I'm going to hit the space bar and bring it into an isometric view for this next moment, so we have it easier in the selection process. We'll then come over here to our Features tab, and then we're going to choose the Extruded Cut feature. And then we're going to choose the end condition up to surface. And then we're going to choose this surface here, highlighted in pink. And then you're going to see these extrusions come down, these cut extrudes come down to here. And then we can simply select OK, click in the graphics view, and hit Control S. Alright, and now from here, after doing the cut extrude, we're going to rename this feature, slow double click, as corner cuts. Perfect. Control S. And now from here, we're going to go to section 4.14 on page 143. We'll start a fillet command under the Features tab. And we're going to make sure that our feature is 0.25 for the dimension. And we're going to go into Items to Select. And here, you can use the G command on the shortcut of the keyboard to zoom in to make a precise selection of this line here. Now notice this pop-up here, we want to do connect to end loop, 7 edges. That is a high-speed way of doing it instead of individually selecting every single one of those. And then we'll click OK, hit Control S again, saving often. And now at the bottom of page 143, section 4.15, we're going to now invoke the shell command. So we're still under the Features tab. We're going to come over here and select the shell. And then switching over to page 144 at the top, our wall thickness for the shell command is going to be 0.125. So in dimension 1, 0.125 if it isn't already there. Enter, and then we're going to choose the selection point. Now what I'm going to do here is actually press my center scroll wheel on the mouse and rotate upside down. Now if you're still not comfortable navigating this way, it's okay. Let's assume you're isometric for a moment. Simply hit the space bar, and over here you want to choose bottom view or Control 6. And then we want to select this bottom, and then simply click OK and Control S again. And real quickly, just to show you what this has done, is I'll pan this, manipulate it. You can see it has shelled it out. We didn't have to do a bunch of cut extruded profiles. And furthermore, I'll even show it this way. So using a sectional view here, I'll show the front, and we can see that it in fact shelled it out. That is all I have for part 1 of this video. Stay tuned next Friday for part 2, where we will finish up this top cover and move on to the next part. Thank you for watching, take care, and I hope to see you in the next video.